Newsradio 1270 and 106.7 KIML. Don Carpenter Show. Chris had to step out for a second, so I'll just make a little announcement for you. Trick or Treat Street and Spook House, Friday, October 30th, 5 to 8 p.m. This event will be held at the Moorcroft Area Civic Center, sponsored by the Moorcroft Elementary Parent Advisory, Moorcroft Police Department, and the citizens and businesses of our community. Donations of any kind would be greatly appreciated. It's not too late. If you have any questions, you can call Angie Peters at 307-756-9218, 307-756-2632, or Jesse Connolly, 307-756-3301. And
was that at the Moorcroft Police Department?
Yes.
Oh, I can't go to that. I was banned from there. There was an incident.
Well,
I'll never go back.
You got caught taking a little bit too much candy at last year's Halloween.
If candy's what you want to call it.
Well, you eat too much of that stuff, you'll end up diabetic, which is probably what'll end up killing me. Eating too much candy. It's just not my. I don't really have a whole lot of vices, but sugar and caffeine are my vices.
Oh, I'm the same.
Yeah, it's well, and that and alcohol with you, but
and other stuff.
Well, but yeah,
and scissorp.
Well, the scissorp, it's good for a cough.
Yeah, it does help.
It is good for a cough, at least,
and it makes me feel good inside.
Well, Sprite, it's a healthier soda.
And it's not why I have bloodshot eyes right now. That's simply gummy bears.
Oh, well. Now I probably have bloodshot eyes because I didn't sleep. And not for lack of trying. It was just one of those nights. Okay, so we didn't get a chance to talk about this last hour, but I wanted to kind of touch a little bit on the Detroit Lions got a new offensive coordinator. Now, they probably, this is not a surprise. The Detroit Lions are terrible. They've gone back to being the Detroit Lions of old. I know in the last couple of years they've been all right. Last year their defense was really good. You saw signs that the offense was starting to struggle, but Stafford held it together pretty well. And I think they went 11-5 last year. Mm-hmm. Did they lose in the first round of the playoffs, or?
Yeah, I don't think they won.
I
don't remember.
They might have won one playoff game, but they didn't go far. But they made the playoffs, which is good for the Detroit Lions. However, things fell apart, and they fired Joe Lombardi, their offensive coordinator, who, by the way, grandson of Vince Lombardi. Apparently, coaching is not genetic. As
he was just a tall guy,
as Jay Gruden has shown.
Well, they simply don't have talent.
Well,
they're so bad. I might pick the Chiefs this week. Which, by the way, I need to get a sheet.
Yeah.
I go out of town.
Oh, okay, yeah.
On that
okay.
Almost forgot.
Hang on.
Almost had a 0-14 week.
I'll give it to you.
But yeah, if I'm thinking about picking the Chiefs over you, you're a bad football team, really bad, because I'm very down on Kansas City, and so I will just angrily pick. Or I should say angrily not pick Kansas City.
Could the Ravens beat Kansas City?
I'd probably pick them to, but Detroit's worse.
Detroit might be worse than the Ravens too. I mean, they're just bad.
Yeah, they're horrible.
So the answer to their offensive problems is Jim Bob Cooter. Jim Bob Cooter is the new offensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions. This isn't Detroit, Mississippi, or Detroit, Georgia. This is Detroit, Michigan. Jim Bob Cooter. It almost feels like a David Letterman point.
Yes.
Bit where he would just sit there, stare at the camera, and say, "Jim Bob Cooter."
He could be in a top 10.
Yeah.
Like the worst named coaches of all time.
It's certainly it's worse than Bum Phillips.
I think Cooter is a nice hire.
Yeah.
I mean, I really think he can really turn that offense around. Maybe Cooter can get the offense hot.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, I mean, they have the talent. I mean, look, they have Stafford, they have Megatron. I mean, that offense could get pretty hot.
What Cooter needs though is protection.
Yes,
from the offensive line, they really have not protected Stafford a whole lot, and it's very important that Cooter gets the protection to protect. I think that what they call him the staff. That's like his nickname, Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
So the staff needs protection.
Well, and
maybe Cooter can give him that protection.
And you got to give him a chance.
Yes,
you got to give him a chance. I mean, beyond the end of the season, he's only going to have a little bit of time this season. So you got to protect him a little bit. So here are a few things that we don't know about Jim Bob Cooter. First off, he's only 31 years old, so he's a young guy. I mean, he's the second youngest offensive coordinator in the NFL. Apparently, Washington's Sean McVay is 30. No, he's not even 30 yet. He's actually turns 30 in January. So Washington Redskins, who put on a pretty good offensive clinic on Sunday, have a 29-year-old offensive coordinator. Makes me feel like a massive failure. Not having done that before I was 30 years old. He also played for the Tennessee Volunteers in Knoxville. He played as a quarterback. So he was quite a bit after Peyton Manning, but he was one of the guys that followed in Peyton Manning's shoes. And apparently he was pretty popular.
Oh, and Todd Helton's shoes as well. He
played
with Peyton.
Apparently Cooter was pretty popular in Tennessee. I mean, it's Knoxville's apparently it was a Cooter town at one point. So he's been coaching since 2009. After he graduated from Tennessee, he was a graduate assistant for the Volunteers for a couple years. Came to the NFL in 2009. Also in 2009, he was arrested for aggravated burglary. Apparently, he climbed through a woman's window, stripped down to his underwear, and got into bed with the woman. Now, obviously, since it's a sensitive type of crime, you're not going to hear who it was. So we don't know who it was. And I did some research, and I don't know if it was somebody he knew, a neighbor, or an ex-girlfriend or ex-wife. I really have no idea. There is very little information on this case.
Well,
all we know is that he was charged with aggravated burglary for climbing through a woman's window, stripping down to his underwear, and getting into bed with the woman. He didn't do anything else. He just got into bed and fell asleep.
I did some research, and yes, I truly did do some research before the segment. I had an idea you might talk about this. And apparently she learned the hard way that Cooter was there. And then he eventually learned the hard way after his arrest that you cannot just you cannot climb through a woman's window, drop your pants, and take off your shirt and get in bed with her. But
now maybe did you find anything in your research to find out whatever happened in this case?
I am not sure. I think Cooter was dropped of all charges.
Well,
they decided that Cooter, not necessarily that he was innocent, but I don't think she wanted to press charges on the whole situation.
So maybe she was a friend of Cooter or something.
Yes. Yeah. She loved Cooter.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I mean, where's the rest of the information on this case? I mean, this is, again, it's Knoxville, and he played for Tennessee, so he was a popular guy around town.
Cooter really got around.
He must have.
Like a Tupac song.
Yeah. Where's the rest of the story? I mean, if the charges were dropped, you think there would be a story somewhere that the charges were dropped. The last I could see is he posted $10,000 bond and was released, which he was arrested. He immediately posted bond and was released. But I guess that's what happened. I mean, I guess I guess the victim in the case didn't want to press charges, and they just never proceeded with it. I can't imagine it's an open case. I mean, the Detroit Lions wouldn't hire Jim Bob if he had an open burglary charge.
Right. You would assume not.
Pretty sure of that. I'm pretty sure you can't get a job at Walmart with an open burglary charge.
Yeah.
There's more to this story, and I want to know the rest of this story.
Well, I think we need to maybe I'll try to get an interview with old Jim Bob Cooter and see if Cooter will open up for me.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I wonder if he wants to talk about this. I imagine if the press conference, if I were at the press conference, I would ask nothing but questions about this arrest. Well, he was charged with DUI too in 2006, but
he might get booed and heckled. back in boo.
Whatever happened with that burglary charge?
Boo. You know how they are. Fair question.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with this guy, Jim Bob Cooter, the offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions. You can't make this stuff up. What do we have going on in sports?
now on to sports. I don't recall what's going on.
Well, probably nothing about Jim Bob Cooter.
Probably not.
And by the way, his real name's not Jim Bob Cooter. It's James Robert Cooter.
The best interviews, always. Don Carpenter on Newsradio 1270 and 106.7 FM KIML.